Hello, and welcome to another episode of Run with Julia. And today I'm sharing with you a video which I made in Cyprus with Chris Hobson. It was such a wonderful chance encounter because Chris is very, very famous because she now has a world record for being the oldest person to run the Antarctic Marathon, and she did that in December 2022. The amazing thing is that I recorded a podcast with her. I'll put the podcast link in the show notes, but we met on Zoom because she lives in Yorkshire, and we recorded a podcast, and she shared her journey from having been a head teacher and a job teaching in academies, really a very big career, and that she was retiring at 60, but she wasn't really ready to retire. And she'd started running some months before her retirement and had entered the London Marathon. And she retired on the Friday, and on the Sunday she ran London, and she knew that she'd found a new career. 10 years later, she was 60 when she retired, she's 70 this July. She will have run 120 marathons, all 7 continents she's run marathons in. She's run the Antarctic Marathon, as I said, and achieved her world record. And we talked about this in January. And then I was in Cyprus running the half marathon in March. And I had just arrived with my friend Jane, and we were sitting having a welcome drink in the hotel. And I said to Jane, I think that's Chris Hobson. Because this lady was at the desk with her husband Richard. And it was Chris. And there she was. And then I popped up. And we were so delighted because there we were, in real life or in person. And so after her marathon, which the Cyprus Marathon went from Aphrodite's Rock, we did a post-race interview in the bar, and here it is. So please enjoy. So this is an incredible thing. I am with Chris Hobson. Chris Hobson's very famous, and I did a podcast in January with Chris, and now we've met in Cyprus. Chris is a world record holder, which she's going to tell us about. She had a new career as a runner 10 years ago. She turned 60 and decided, no, she wasn't going to retire. She was going to become a marathon runner. Just today, she has run her 119th marathon in Paphos, Cyprus. She's going to be 70 in July, and it's going to be her power decade. She's run marathons in 7 continents. She's got the world record, which we're going to talk about, and I interviewed Chris in January, and she had just finished the Antarctica Marathon in December. So Chris, isn't this fun?
Yeah, amazing. Because I don't know how you were just there.
I saw Chris, I saw the back of Chris. And by the way, I feel moved to explain that I've had a spa, which is why I've got kind of oil in my hair. I just suddenly realised that I have to explain to my public why I've got oily hair. But no, I saw the back of you, and I said to Jane, I think that's Chris. And then I leapt up to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
And you were, did you? What?
No, I hadn't seen you because I was too bothered trying to sort something out of the desk. I hadn't seen you at all.
So tell us about today, because I've done the half marathon, and I'm very glad it was only a half marathon because it's been quite hot and windy. It's delightful here, but it's not quite -2 that we left in the UK.
No.
So tell us about your race, because you've just run your 119th marathon. Oh, before that, can you tell everybody about the world record that you've just been awarded?
Yes, well, you know about that story.
I do.
So, basically, I ended up doing the Antarctic Ice Marathon, and my sister got in touch with us while we were waiting to go and said, do you realise that there is a world record in this sphere? I said, what do you mean? And she says, well, the person that was the oldest that's done it before is younger than you. Which was a big challenge, which meant I had to complete it. Whether come what may, I had to complete it. So I am, I've got the world record for the oldest person who's done the Antarctic Ice Marathon, which is actually the nearest one to the South Pole, and has its own world record for being the nearest to the sun.
So you're a double world record holder. So in December, was that the last marathon you did?
Yeah.
So in December you're in ice and snow, and today it was from Aphrodite's Rock, was it? Tell us about today.
Well, I kept asking people what's the course like, and I wasn't getting very far. And probably a good job, because when we set off, it was a 2 kilometre climb, followed by 10 k's worth of steep rolling hills. If you can have steep rolling hills, but you know what I mean.
I think you can have steep rolling hills.
So by the time it got to the flatter bit, my legs were just gone, really.
When did it get to the flatter bit?
Oh, just over halfway.
Oh gosh.
So it wasn't easy.
No.
But I needed to get this one finished, because my husband, who seems to manage me very well,
He doesn't want to come in the video. We've tried persuading, but he's looking after our drinks.
Yeah.
We have Prosecco and cocktails and all sorts of things.
I said perhaps we need to speak before I have a Prosecco on an empty stomach, because I haven't done any eating yet.
Yes, so we're here because it's quieter and he's guarding the drinks, and he thought that was a job he preferred than coming in the video. But tell me, you got halfway, your legs are gone. What's your process to keep going? Because you are amazing.
Oh wow! Well, that's what I was going to tell you. I just realised. Basically, the reason that I had to get it finished is that my husband does stupid things like spreadsheets on me, and
we know about spreadsheets, Jane and me.
When I was due to retire, he did a spreadsheet to work out exactly the best time for me to retire to get the best pension. And he used to tell me every month when my salary went in. It's so many months now.
Well, Jane and I both have boyfriends who are spreadsheet men, so we understand spreadsheet men.
Spreadsheet men.
So then, with your marathon run,
so because what he suddenly came to him in January, I think it was that we're going to be in 70 this summer, and I started doing my marathons after I was 60. That there are 120 months between 60 and 70, and I was on number 117, I think, at that point. Well, it might have been 118, I've lost track now. Anyway, and so he said that before my birthday this summer, I just had to do 120.
I love it. And he's your manager, but I saw your manager today sitting and waiting for you, so he's not running them.
Oh no, he's not running them. I call him my logistics manager, and he says he carries the bags, but he does far more than that. I mean, if anything comes out of something like today, it is the relationship side of it. Because he got up at 5 o'clock this morning with me, and he went down to make sure I got on the bus all right. And then he came back. I think he saw you, while you were having breakfast. And then he's been down there 2 hours tonight, waiting for me to come, because he wasn't just sure what time we'll get there.
Wow, yeah. So it is, and it's a very kind of a big bond you have then.
Yeah,
very good.
Yes, and I think he's. It's like with the Antarctic, you know, it was a lot of money, but he was happy. He was happy to make me happy. Happy.
And he'd also organised that you were going that you were going to get your best pension.
Yes, to make sure that we could live nicely.
So he just loves looking after you, just loves you.
Well, we actually, he'll kill me for saying this, right? We actually met online, and I didn't respond to him because one of the things he put was, you know, where it sort of says, what do you like doing? And he said he liked helping people. And I thought, oh my God, how wet can you get? That was my first thought. So then, and he'd only paid for a week's worth of doing it because he's a tight Yorkshireman. With his spreadsheet.
A week's worth of online dating.
Online dating, yeah. And then he wondered, you know. Anyway, nobody had got back to him. And I think probably because they'd ended up thinking, what a weird thing to say. So he was a bit bothered about this, and he'd been talking to his sister and his daughter, who were his sort of confidants for doing this, and they'd already picked out my picture and given the go-ahead. and he had ended up not quite sure what to do, and so he emailed, or whatever it was in those days, because it was
20 years ago.
Yeah, 2004, something like that. He emailed everybody that hadn't responded to him or messaged them through the thing to say, please would you give advice, as none of you got back to me, what am I doing wrong? Which, you know, honestly, I know he's weird, but
he's lovely.
He's lovely.
No, he's lovely. He's lovely. He's not weird. He's lovely.
He's lovely. Yeah. Well, the trouble was that I was a head teacher at the time, and I couldn't resist telling him what he'd done wrong.
Which was say you wanted to help.
Yeah, which was, and you know, we ended up with a telephone conversation, and I said to him, you know, it had put me off because it wasn't the sort of thing you'd expect to be. He says, but I do like helping people, and he does. It has been all the time now. Yeah,
and it's been a lovely relationship. Yeah. It is a lovely relationship. Yeah, no, he's a lovely guy. It's really lovely. We keep bumping. Jane and I kept bumping into him today.
Yeah,
and he seems to be really loving his day and looking forward to you. He was not sure he was going to go and look for you, and it's very good. So does he help you with your training too, or do you have to just go and crack on your own with that?
Well, I crack on myself to a certain extent, but things like I don't do long runs unless they're in a marathon.
Yes, yeah.
And so he, like, recently after the pandemic and everything, there's been problems with the trains because of the strikes and things, and so he's ended up taking me places so that I can get this 120 for this summer. So,
I see.
So yes, he really does. He's lovely.
He is lovely.
In fact, I met some Israeli girls who they've suggested that I should do the Dead Sea Marathon next year.
Wow.
Because that's another record one. Because it's the lowest altitude.
Oh, is it?
It's actually.
Was it at sea level or something?
Below sea level.
Below sea level.
I think it's below sea level.
Oh, amazing.
And so that's it. He's off.
He's off researching.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it? The very thing that you thought you didn't like about him is the thing that you love about him.
Yeah. and also because I was a bit bothered that we had nothing completely in common.
Yes.
But actually we developed our own commonality.
Is that the word?
Yes.
I think it is. So, 119, we're in March. July, what date's your birthday?
13th of July.
13th of July. So where is your 120th?
Well, I've got one in reserve as well.
Oh, good.
Just in case.
Yes.
So I've got one local that's on the canal. With Brim up north, which are these small ones
yes.
that have popped up everywhere
Yes. All right. When's that one?
That's Easter weekend.
Oh, right. So.
And I'm also doing that because although it's on the canal has been bad. The canal walkway has been badly affected by rain and it's all rutted and things. And because I'm thinking of doing the North Pole next year, I need to get some off-road.
Oh my goodness!
So
gosh, you are brave.
Yeah.
You are brave. And then the other. So is that the reserve one?
That's the reserve one because I'm down to do Edinburgh Marathon, which I always do. Nearly every
I'm
year.
going to do the half marathon.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll meet again.
Oh, right.
So Chris and I are now, well, marathon and half marathon pals.
Yeah.
So thank you, Chris.
Oh, it was just wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
wonderful. It really is. It's really
Better go back to husband before he drinks all our drinks.
Oh, we better. Thank you so much for watching and being part of this new community run with Julia. And thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. And any questions or any comments or anything you'd like me to cover, please write in the comment section. And yes, let's run. Let's keep running. Let's run and run and run. And thank you for being part of this channel.